what's up, everybody? Stoked to see you here. Hope you're having an awesome day. This is going to be another really short message, just like last week, and for the same reason. We want you guys to be able to spend time getting to know each other. And in that same vein, I want to challenge you guys, like whenever you're at REgroups, to jump out and kind of get to know the people that maybe you don't know in the room, to talk to the people that maybe you normally wouldn't talk to. And for a reason, right? Not just because the other people that you don't talk to are awesome, but also because towards the end of the year, we're going to have something called REgroup Owns the Night. And you guys are going to get a chance as a group to kind of plan the night. And we're going to talk to you guys more about this as the year goes on. But it'll be really fun if you're doing it with people that you know. So spend some time talking to people that you wouldn't normally talk to and kind of branch outside your crew, and you guys will hear more about that in the future. Anyways, if you haven't been here, we've been talking about 3 words the past 3 weeks, and we've been kind of referencing it to our brand and what we want people to think about us and feel about us and see about us, but not just us, the church, and about Jesus as well. And kind of the 3 words that we've been talking about is worship, community, and serve. And just a quick recap: worship, we talked about how your worship has to be more than just a song. It has to be more than just giving lip service to God, but it's a posture that we live our lives from, that we do everything from. The second week, we talked about community and how real community is an extension of the church, and how it's not healthy to only hang out with Christians, and it's not healthy to only hang out with people that are not Christians, but the healthy thing to do is right in the middle. And this week we're going to talk about serve. And the truth about service is it really is connected to those 2 things, because number one, service flows from an overflow of the heart, right? It flows from our worship, essentially. And whenever we're doing it, we do it in community, right? Whenever we serve other people, we're doing it in community. So it really ties all 3 of these things together. So the reason we serve others is we do it in response to what Jesus did for us. Because Jesus loved us, because Jesus died for us, because of the things that Jesus did for us while he was here and that he continues to do now, is why we serve other people. It's what we called to do, right? It's what we're called to do. Those that we know, those that we don't know. And it's really important. One of the cool things about service is you can do it all the time. Like, it doesn't have to be this big event like Impact, or this big thing like you're going to go downtown and like go rescue a homeless person or whatever. It doesn't have to be like that. One of the ways we serve people is just by keeping our eyes open for the small opportunities throughout the day, right? Whether that's something as small as opening the door for someone, or maybe eating lunch with someone who's eating lunch by themselves, or maybe buying someone a coffee, right? Or whatever it looks like. Those are the most real ways that we serve people. Of course, it's awesome and it's huge whenever we get to do these big events, right? And we get to go on mission trips, or you know, we do Impact, and we get to make these huge impacts on our community. That's awesome. But that's not the only way that we serve. The goal, right, is to develop a heart for it, right? And a heart that is constantly looking and constantly keeping our eyes and our minds open to God, and saying, like, God, how can I serve these people in this moment? But regardless of how we serve others, we do it for a reason, right? Like, everyone knows that serving other people is a good thing. Like, no one argues this, not atheists, not anybody, right? We all know that serving other people is good, like, for our heart, and it's good for us. It's good for who we are. But we as Christians get to do it for a reason, right? Not just because it's good for us, but also because it changes our hearts. It changes our hearts, and it helps us do that worship thing, right? It helps us live in a posture in response to what Jesus has done, right? Like, there's something that changes, and I can't even really quite like put my finger on what it is, but there's something that changes whenever I serve somebody. Like, whenever I go and help somebody, there's something in my heart that changes and makes me more humble. It makes me more calm. It makes me happier, and it makes me more Christ-like. And I know that's true for so many people, just from seeing you guys, like seeing the way that you guys have served over the past years at Impact, even if you're a middle schooler, right? And just the other service projects that we've done is incredible. And I just want to encourage you guys to keep doing those things, but to also look for the little things too. And one other thing I want to hit on really quick with service is something that we rarely talk about in the church, but it's something that makes us uncomfortable, if we're honest. At least it makes me uncomfortable, and I think you guys will be able to relate to this. But what that is letting other people serve you. And I know, like, that's like, what? Like, that's like a Christian thing to do. And actually it is. The way, like, whenever someone does something for me, like if someone tries to buy me coffee or buy me lunch or, you know, whatever, we all have that first initial reaction. It's the, oh, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Oh, I can get it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I really want to question, why is it that we do that? Why is it that we aren't comfortable with other people doing something for us? And lots of times, if we're being honest, it's pride. Like, I can do this myself. I have enough money to pay for my dollar coffee. Like, of course you do. That's not the point, right? That's not the point of someone else serving you. You know, you can wash your own dish. You can do this stuff for yourself. But the truth is that whenever we don't allow someone else to serve us, we actually deprive them from the opportunity to live that out. Like, we deprive them from the opportunity to live out their worship or to be a blessing to someone else. And we stop them from doing that. And the cool thing is there's this great story in the Bible that kind of shows both sides of it, because Jesus and the disciples did both of those things. They served other people to a fault, right? But they also let other people serve them. And there's this moment, it's in the Gospel of John. And there's this moment where it happens internally, right? Where the disciples have to let Jesus serve them. So I'm actually going to end on the story. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining it, because I want you guys to have group discussion and be able to kind of unpack it yourself. So I'm gonna read this, and then we're gonna close out, and you guys are gonna have group discussion. So it's John chapter 13, verses 1 through 17. You can pull it up if you want to. You don't have to. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. So Jesus knows that he's about to go to the cross. Jesus knows that he's about to die, but that's not going to stop him from serving other people. So it goes on and it says, during supper, when the devil had already put it on the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. So knowing that, number one of these guys who's here is going to betray him, but that everything is in God's control regardless. And he gets up from dinner, and he laid aside his outer garments. He took a towel, he tied it around his waist, he poured water into a basin, and he began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. So this is like this would be like if you're like teacher or something. I don't know, so much more than just a teacher, right? But this is like God, literally your God coming down and starting to wash your feet. And it would probably, you know, you'd want to be like, no, you don't have to do that, right? And that's what Peter does. Peter says, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? And Jesus says to him, he says, what I'm doing you don't understand now, but afterwards you will understand. And Peter says, you'll never wash my feet. And Jesus answers him. He says, if I do not wash you, you have no share with me. And Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. So he's like, oh, okay, never mind. Give me an entire bath. And Jesus is like, all right, chill out, bro. But he says, the one who is bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you, for he knew who was to betray him, and that was why he said, not all of you are clean. So when he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, do you understand what I've done to you? What I've done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you also should do, just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is the messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. So you guys have some questions, and I really want you guys to spend some time like unpacking this story and why did Jesus serve his disciples in that way, and why did the disciples allow him to do so, and what's that mean for us? Like, how are we supposed to repeat that? So thank you guys so much, and have a great time.